So today's episode is about asking the right questions. How can you ever expect to achieve answers without questions? Even Socrates used to ask questions. Rather than tell people, you ask questions. Asking questions promotes thought. Let's use this podcast as an example. I could just say, I want this podcast to grow. Although that's a worthwhile goal, it's not really promoting me to think in ways that's going to help it to grow. Instead, I should ask questions such as, how do I go about getting more viewers? How can I improve the quality of my content? How can I improve the quantity of my content? Is the sound quality good enough? What topics should I be talking about? What is the key demographic of people I'm trying to reach? What other avenues could I utilize to get the reach out there? Am I giving my best work? What can I learn from other podcasts that's going to help me to improve my show? Should I be doing more individual episodes or ones with guests? Now, you can see that those questions, although there are many, many more, promotes me to think of ways to answer that question. Now, the point in this is to try and illustrate the importance of questions. Why are you listening to this? What are you hoping to gain? What value can I bring as the podcast host to ensure that you benefit from listening to this? Questions are the most important thing. We can use questions in our own life too. I wrote a book called A Question a Day, which is a daily guided journal. There's 366 questions in there, and you answer one every day. You answer a question, I give some insight, and you re-answer the question with that new insight. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that you want to answer the question organically, and two is that sometimes when you have additional input, it makes you think in a different way. There are some 10 questions I'm going to share, not necessarily my favorite. They're just at random, if I'm honest, but 10 questions that you will see helps you to think in a particular way. I will give some insight to them as well. So, question one, and this is from day 2 of the book. Am I employing a healthy attitude towards life? Am I employing a healthy attitude towards life? Think about that. Now, you've had obviously had a few seconds to think about that. And now let's think about the broader side of this. First thing is, how would you describe your current attitude? What do you define as a healthy attitude? Are you an angry and bitter person? Do you see issues in everything rather than solutions? Why is having a healthy attitude important? What does having a good attitude give you? What do others say about your attitude? I think that's a great one. Are you where you are because of your attitude? When looking for a job, do you try and find one where you do only little work for the highest pay, or do you want to develop and grow? Attitude itself refers to feelings, beliefs, and behavior predispositions directed towards people, groups, ideas, or objects. To improve your attitude, you first need to understand what having a good attitude does for you, as well as finding ways to improve yours. There are benefits to having a positive attitude, aren't there? They include health. You're going to have less stress and therefore be healthier. Wealth. Good attitude means that you earn more. Attitude determines altitude. You'll have better relationships, obviously. You'll become more efficient because you'll become happier doing the dirty work. Your determination may improve and you will also find solutions. That they are the benefits. But there's also, or there is an importance on finding how you can improve. Maybe it's smiling and body language. Maybe it's acting and then letting go, as in taking action. Maybe it's the peer group that you're in. Maybe it's forgiveness or lack of. You're not forgiving people or yourself. Maybe it's the fact that you're not optimistic when you should be. Maybe you don't have a strong enough purpose. Maybe your manners let you down. Maybe you need to get into competition with yourself. Maybe you need to live in the present more. Maybe you need to show more gratitude. And maybe you need to laugh at yourself when things go wrong. So, what you should do off the back of this is write down or think about parts of your attitude that you're happy with, and then those that you need to work on. Maybe you write down your ideal attitude and then embody it. Can you see how that makes you think rather than me telling you, you should have an attitude like this, you should have an attitude like that? Questions promote thought. The second question that I'm using here is on day 11, which is, am I taking anything for granted? Am I taking anything for granted? Taking things for granted is not a good trait. As humans, we tend to focus on what we don't have rather than what we do have. We have a negativity bias where it takes five positive things to outweigh one negative thing. There is someone out there jealous of everything you have and would do anything to have it. So be grateful. Someone wants your driving license, someone wants the house you live in, someone wants a dog you own, the girlfriend you have, the finances you have, the hair you have on your head when they're bald, etc. Are you taking the country you live in for granted? The fact that you have parents, you have a job, you're in good health, you have friends, that you've eaten today, that you have a roof over your head, that you have access to books on the internet, that you can walk. Why are you taking these things for granted? Would gratitude not serve you best? When you take things for granted, it puts you into a negative state. By taking things for granted, you can actually take away life's joy. You tend to breed selfish and negative thoughts as well as insecurity. The cure to that is gratitude. If you woke up tomorrow with only the things you showed gratitude for today, what would you be left with? The action point. Write or think about everything you are taking for granted. Maybe this should be your gratitude list as well. Again, you can start to see thoughts promote, or questions, sorry, promote thought, and it gets you to think of answers rather than being told. It's like the film Inception. You have to make people think for themselves. The next question, which is from day 13, is, am I using my time wisely? What does using your time wisely actually mean to you? Is it maximizing the time doing things you love? Is it maximizing the time doing your highest income generating activity? Is it killing two birds with one stone? Is it increasing your efficiency? Obviously, we can talk about the Pareto principle here, but we've talked about that on other episodes, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But reflect and focus on the important tasks. What about utilizing your time when you're doing mundane activities? Maybe you're driving for hours, washing the dishes, cleaning the house. Why not learn during these activities? Why not listen to a podcast? Why not learn a language? Are you spending enough time on your relationships? Are you spending enough time exercising? When you have a list of tasks, it's important to prioritize, and that's how you can use your time wisely. Do you value your time? Do you spend time doing low value or high value things? Do you use a calendar? Are you wasting time? Do you look at the results or actions you're taking? Do you feel overworked? Do you work efficiently? Can you delegate tasks possibly that frees up your time and makes you more efficient? How can you get more done? How can you prioritize? Maybe an action point here. What can you do during those mundane jobs to make good use of the time? How can you prioritize better? What jobs can you delegate? What jobs do you not need to worry about? Because often we worry about things that we don't even need to, and we don't worry about the big jobs, the big things, things that will bring us success. Another question from day 21. Am I living my life to its full potential? And am I fulfilling my own potential? First thing is, how do you define your full potential? Only you know what your real potential is. What could you do differently to allow yourself to achieve this potential? What results would your full potential yield? How can you begin to act now? How much time will you allow yourself to reach your full potential? Could you double your intensity? There are some standardized ways that increase the likelihood of reaching your potential. This could be developing a growth mindset rather than keeping a fixed mindset. You could combine reflection and action. You could focus on the bigger picture. You could improve how you use your time, as we've previously discussed. You could develop larger goals. You could dream bigger. Maybe you're trying to reinvent the wheel when you shouldn't. Maybe you could improve your discipline. Maybe you could seek out areas where you could fail, and that means getting out of your comfort zone. Maybe you need to know when to rest, and maybe you need to know how to engage your emotions correctly. Anger used in the right way, for example, can spur you on. So here's the action point. What three things are holding you back from achieving your potential? How can you address them? And what particular part of life are you not living to the maximum? The next question is from day 23. If I understand that failure precedes success over the long term, why am I so scared to fail? We all have a deep need to avoid failure. It's ingrained in us, but we can control this to an extent. Now that we understand that we try and avoid failure, we need to ask ourselves whether we are willing to fail or not. How far are you willing to fall to develop skills? What failures are you willing to accept for long-term success? What does long-term success mean to you? How many times would you fail before giving up? They're all really good questions, aren't they? But it's a case of seeking out failure and areas that you could fail in. It has been said that to grow, we need to seek out failure and become perpetually outside of our comfort zone. The most successful people have also failed the most. A professional boxer has been punched in the face more than a novice, yet who is better? It's natural for humans to seek comfort and security, but short-term comfort will mean that life will be difficult long-term. However, if you seek insecurity and discomfort, life will likely be more secure in the long term. Think of any business. A leap of faith was taken at the start of the business, which is the uncertain situation. Once the business succeeds, the security comes. Sometimes we need to go through initial pain for reprieve later. If we decide to stay in our comfort zone, we are delaying the pain, and the pain will come back larger than before. Action. What areas of your life are you seeking discomfort? What areas are you seeking out a goal that's so big you could fail? Can you add more areas of discomfort, or can you increase the discomfort in the areas you already have? Things to think about, isn't it? The next question that we're going to look at is day 42. If I could hypnotize myself, what would I want to change? This is if you click your fingers, something changes. In life, we go through a lot of diverse periods when we are focused on different things, don't we? We go through periods of life where you want to be stronger, maybe better at selling, or more romantically active. Your current wish for hypnotizing yourself should show you what you're lacking or what you wish to improve about yourself. Here's some examples that you see on a standard basis. Maybe people want a mentality change to be more positive. Maybe they want to improve their self-esteem or their confidence levels. Maybe they want to be more outgoing, be bolder, more aggressive, more extroverted, be better at selling, to be stronger physically, to be better at dating, or to be funnier. So, what could you do now to make yourself more like this instead of just being hypnotized? Could you seek out ways to change these things? Action point is actually, did you know that you can hypnotize yourself? Hypnotizing comes from a mixture of visualization, self-affirmation, meditation. So can you create a schedule to include this in your daily activities? How long do you think it would take to achieve this change? And how can you measure the improvement? The powerful one, that powerful question. The next one is day 59. How do I define success? Success actually is defined as the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. Therefore, have you ever thought about what your aim is? Is the aim something you have established or something someone else has on your behalf? Here are some ways to improve the chances of success. Firstly, know your desired outcome. Clarity is power. Commit to the cause. Change your limiting beliefs. Understand or undertake positive visualization and optimistic thoughts. Surround yourself with the right people. Take care of your health. Take positive action. Set goals to navigate to your end goal. Develop passion for the cause. For most people, success is the middle of three things. It's the middle of financial stability, creative freedom, and lifestyle design. So you want to be financially successful, don't you? You want to be creatively free and have a good lifestyle. But what do those parts mean specifically to you? So, firstly, define what success is for you. What's your ideal aim currently? Is it just one ideal, or are there many parts to consider? How can you get there within the next 5 years? So, the next question is from day 131, which is what are the primary components of a happy life to me? Maybe it's something like having security, a family, money, or the ability to travel, maybe good physical or mental health. There is what's called a wheel of life. And for me, this applies to every single person out there. And you need to factor in how well you're doing in each of these areas: career, finances, health, family, friends, romance, spirituality, and contribution. How do you value your life in each area? As well as this, you've obviously got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Are you at the bottom with physiological needs, just air, water, food? Or maybe it's safety needs, employment. Maybe it's love and belonging, friendship, intimacy. Maybe it's esteem, self-esteem, recognition, status. Or maybe it's self-actualization, which is the desire to become the most one can be. Where are you on that hierarchy at the moment? How can you strive towards these things? How far up this hierarchy of needs do you feel you need to be? How far up the pyramid are you currently? What do you feel deep down? The action is to write down two, or think about, obviously, two components that you require to be the happiest self in each of the above areas of the wheel. Is it destination based or journey based? The next question is from day 234. What limiting beliefs have my parents given me? Caveat or quick aside, our parents mold a lot of our mentality early on. And we're going to see this from what I tell you in a second. When parents instill beliefs in you, it can be hard to change. Some common ones are, and you'll all have at least one of these. It's brilliant. You must work hard to get money. Money just causes fights about money. Our family never has money. We can't afford it. Love is too painful. The economy is bad. It's too late to pursue my dreams. I'm not worthy of being loved. I'm not smart, pretty, talented enough. I could never open my own business. I don't have enough time, experience, resources to pursue my passion. I should avoid failure at all costs. I should never question authority. I'm too old to go back to school or education. It's too late to adopt a healthier lifestyle. The damage is already done. All romantic relationships end in heartbreak. The rich just steal from the poor. The rich are crooks. No one can do things right these days. Action. Which limiting beliefs do you need to change? Write down an alternative statement to one of those or your own that can help change your perspective and mindset. And the final one we're going to look at is from day 272. What positive changes have I made in my life recently? It's extremely subjective, isn't it? As the size of the positive change will be the important factor, obviously. If you wake up 1 minute a day or 1 minute earlier a day than you did yesterday, not really doing much, but it's still positive, as I said. But it's about the size that's also important. So could you increase the size of this positive change? What motivated you to make this positive change? What is your end goal? Here are some examples of positive changes people have made from my experience while coaching. They've come off social media. They've started to exercise daily. They socialize more or less, depending on obviously if they don't get out enough or get out too much. They've stopped smoking. They've stopped drinking or taking drugs. Stopped complaining, making excuses. They've stopped judging other people. They've become more spiritual. They now write down their goals. They practice self-love, gratitude. They get up earlier and go to bed earlier. They set higher expectations and talk less and listen more. They work harder on themselves than they have ever before. They spend more time with positive people. They are now optimistic rather than pessimistic. They have made positive changes to their diet and they now read every day. The action. What other changes can you make to your life? What results would you expect to see? Can you include the appropriate activities that you need within your routine? As I said, to find answers, we need to ask the right questions. Maybe you're lost because you're not asking the right questions. There's another 350 odd within the book that will help you find answers.